So looks like I can't do it once it's already on, but what I can do is I'll have it recorded on my YouTube channel so anyone can watch it there. So let me get that going live now. Okay, so it's live on YouTube now. So anyone that wants to watch it, we can just put the YouTube link and they can watch that way. And then I'll just remember the next time to make sure I click the button to make sure it records on Twitter as well. At least on YouTube, it'll be there permanently because I know that on the Twitter version, it only stays up for I think 30 days and it self deletes.
Gotcha.
So this way, if people want to ever go back and refer to it for any reason, it'll be up on YouTube indefinitely. So people can have access to it there. And then people on YouTube can also ask questions for those that don't have Twitter. But yeah, we can just wait for a few people to pop in here. I see Greek down there, Evan, Jeff. Appreciate you guys stopping by. We know it's a little bit later in the evening for some people on the East Coast, especially on a weekday, but a lot of people have been asking us for us to do a space like this. So pretty excited to talk about Drip. We haven't talked about it in a while. So yeah, as more people pop in, I'm sure we'll get a good conversation going. Tyler, just while we're waiting, how's your day been, man?
It's been good. I have a very crazy schedule compared to a lot of people. I'm kind of 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So I've been doing all my, what I call rat killing for the day. Just getting back home from work.
Gotcha. Yeah. What do you do for work?
I drill for an oil company.
Oh, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Where, if you don't mind me asking, where are you located? Are you like up in the Northeast? I mean, Northwest?
West Texas.
West Texas. Okay. So way out in the South. Okay. Never mind.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Sorry. I'm trying to talk to you and try to text at the same time. It's not working out. Okay. Let me see here. I'm going to drop the space in the Discord. If you guys that are listening down there, if you guys could share the space out for others to hop in so they're aware of what's going on, they can participate. And it's also live on on my YouTube channel. For those that it's too late for, or time zone conflicts or work conflicts or whatever, they can go back on my YouTube channel and watch it there. So you can spread the word that way as well. But yeah, we can hop right into it. So if any of you guys have any questions, anything you'd like to talk about, get clarification on, anything like that, this is just kind of an open drip space, as a lot of people do with other projects, where they can kind of just talk about whatever. So yeah, you guys are welcome to come up, ask questions, shoot the breeze. We'll keep it mostly on drip, but I'm sure we'll have some tangents here and there. So anyone that wants to come up, you're welcome to just go ahead and send in a request. I'll bring you right up. And the only thing that we ask is that, obviously, first of all, nothing that we say here is going to be financial advice, as is always the case in these type of spaces. We always encourage people to do their own research on any project, regardless of what it is. And of course, keep things respectful, right? So if we start to get some harassment or anything crazy like that, we'll have to drop you down. But other than that, I'm a big advocate for free speech. So even if you have negative viewpoints of the project, we'd still love to hear your opinion and talk about that and talk it through, as long as you're respectful. So anyone and all is welcome to come up and talk about the project and their feelings on it. So feel free to send in your requests. Tyler, for you right now, what is kind of your overall feelings, opinions, anything you want to bring up when it comes to drip?
I'm super bullish on drip. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, just the mechanics alone of drip, just I love it, and I love Forex and everything his whole past, everything he's doing. Chain link, pancake swap. I'm loading the boat right now.
I bet. Yeah, it's been a crazy ride recently. And I think that there's a lot of misconceptions with the price because of the way the mechanics work. I know that you've talked about it pretty extensively on your Twitter since I've been following you. Anything that you wanted to comment on that, as far as a lot of the fear about the price going down over the last couple of weeks?
It's all cycles. It's how it works, man. I mean, the market moves in cycles, and if you kind of grasp the understanding of that, it makes you feel a lot more comfortable, and you understand the mechanics.
100%. Yeah. Looks like we're sitting at about, at least on the pancake swap side, we're sitting at about 44 on price. Had some spikes, but mostly a downcline after that initial rise that we experienced. What was that, 2 days ago?
Mm-hmm.
That we had that good kick up, and then we've had kind of a consolidation phase. And so good, strong last week, kicked up from 30. Seems like to me, I don't want to go into your guys' opinion, but it seems like 30 has kind of been the floor historically. It feels like it hits 30 and there's an immediate kind of kick back up, and then we kind of consolidate again, and then we hit 30 and then we kick back up again. So it seems like 30 is the resistance line that I've been noticing.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if we hit it again, that'd be a triple bottom for us. I've noticed a lot of people lately are starting to pick up on the reservoir, which is great. I'm glad a lot of people are learning that, because that can only benefit us in the long term, and it can also, next time we do make a run, it can push the price up even higher.
100%. Yeah. I've actually done a video on that. So for those who are wondering what the heck are they talking about, it's a way that you can earn passive rewards, but instead of them being directly in the drip token, you're going to be earning them in BNB, or Binance Smart Chain. And that has to do with a token called Drop. So it's funny when I hear people talk about the project, and they mention they keep nicknaming Drip Drop, but the reality is Drop is an actual token within the ecosystem. So Drop is the token that you receive essentially for putting a LP pairing within the reservoir, and that's actually what earns you your passive BNB rewards. So it's kind of cool how that works and how it adds liquidity to the project and therefore more stability on price. So any of you guys that are now joining, you guys are all welcome to request to come up and speak. Like we mentioned before, positive or negative. I know this has been a big request to get a space like this open, to have an open conversation about Drip and the project and what it has to offer and answer questions. I know it's an extremely complex ecosystem. It's obviously well designed that way intentionally, and because that's what actually makes it function so well, is the fact that it's been designed the way that it has, with all of the different keepsakes in it, the taxes that are built into it, and of course the restrictions. So there's not exploitation of the network itself. Of course, we've got a lot of good partnerships that are coming up in the works with PancakeSwap, as Tyler has mentioned before, as well as with Chainlink. A lot of speculation as to what those will be. I'm sure we're going to get more information on our next big AMA that we'll be getting from Forex here soon. They've been having to work on some issues they ran into with the piggy bank, which is another part of the ecosystem that's kind of delayed a lot of things. But hopefully they'll get the new UI update out soon and everything else that way. So there's a lot of good things coming for the project here in the future. And we can talk about price action stuff, of course. But if you guys don't feel comfortable coming up and speaking, I get that. Not a lot of people are up for that task. So if you guys want to just send DMs, send them to either myself or Tyler. We would love to go ahead and answer your guys' questions if you would like to ask them but don't want to come up and speak. You're welcome to do so. So we appreciate you guys all for showing up today on this Monday evening, and we'd love to have a good conversation. So let's get some speakers up here. Send some invites down there. And if you guys are listening, feel free to please share out the space. I know a lot of people were a little bit confused on the timing of when the space was going to be opened. So if you guys could just go ahead and give this a quick share, just click the plus button down in the bottom right corner and then just tweet that out so other people can be aware that we're hosting the space and that all thoughts and all people are welcome. So whether you're a supporter or a hater, we'd love to have you up and talk about it. I think that's the best part about this, is not creating echo chambers and having all sorts of different opinions and being able to sort that out in public. That's great. So welcome to the panel, Jeff. How's it going tonight?
How's it going, everybody? Yeah, I'm doing good. A little late for me. I'm burning the midnight oil, but I'm fired up to be here, and I appreciate everybody for hopping in and you guys taking the time to host it. Yeah,
of course. We appreciate you here, and we appreciate your energy, man. You're always fun to be around in the spaces.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I got into Drip a few months ago, and yeah, honestly, for me, man, I'm really excited about it. I always try to look to people that are doing the thing that I want to do, and try to see what they have going on and try to soak up as much as I can. And the one thing that I found to be really exciting for me, again, I try to double down on the things that I understand. I got my man Evan in here who, we talk to about this constantly, and it's like, obviously people in, any project, right? They're going to be people who make a good amount of money. It's just, it is what it is. To me, to see people make that, amount of money in Drip in the Forex ecosystem and put it right back into it really tells me all that I need to know, and after that, that makes me feel a lot better about what's going on, price dips, whatever. And even having people say how, yeah, this all moves in cycles, it's par for the course, makes me feel better. Watching some of the big dogs put their money right back into it tells me that they have confidence in it, which gives me confidence, right? And then, it's just a accumulation at that point.
Yeah, I think I saw some of the big dogs throwing down today, so it's definitely nice to see.
100%. And kind of to your point, Jeff, when you were talking about people putting their money back in, this is one of those projects where you could literally be down 90% from the price that you bought in at and still come out profitable. I mean, that's just crazy to think about, but mathematically, that's how this project works, right? With the way the faucet works. So it's crazy to see a project like this still create profits, even on a downtrend in a market.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing, for me. I've been in, I got in about a year ago into crypto, and some of the things that I'm involved with, I'm still really stoked on, but realistically, I think after the first couple of months of getting in and hoping to get that, what is that, 6 million return in 12 hours? I mean, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? For most things, not saying it can't, but realistically, giving yourself a good timeline and reasonable expectations, I think is huge, right? I think mindset with all this stuff is a big part of it. I feel like it can kill your motivation or get you more stoked for something. So I feel like having, some of those projects that, yeah, they need a couple big listings and this and that, but also have huge potential. But then for me, flipping that coin and having a few things that are sitting there that are just like math based, right? Like even if the price goes down, just math and time, like I said, man, I talk to Evan about this all the time. I just need the project to stay alive and you can really make out and make really good money, I think is exciting. You don't need 9 major exchanges to list you tomorrow. And, you don't need the CEO to bump into this guy to get this partnership that happens next Tuesday. Just math and time.
Absolutely. And it's crazy. For a whole year now, Drip's been paying 1% every single day.
That's the other thing, dude, that I find wild. A
Every
lot of
single
people,
day.
with bringing up, negative things, whatever it is. I mean, I don't like to dive into the negative. I don't care about any of that stuff. But, to sit there and go, wow, for a year, dude, if I got in early, what would that, because it's been a year. It hasn't been 3 weeks. You know what I mean? It hasn't been 2 months. It's been a year every day. Like, I think that gets me excited, man, for the future.
Nothing on Bitcoin, but I mean, Bitcoin was down 8% today, and Drip was still paying out 1%. It's just, yeah, it's a beast of its own.
It's crazy what can happen when you get someone who saw projects in the past who have attempted this. So for those that don't know, Drip is actually a fork of another project called Flow, which which had a very similar kind of design. If you actually look at the UI, it's almost exactly the same with the different color scheme. And Forex was able to look at an interesting concept mathematically and was able to make it actually work so that it could last forever. Right. The problem with Flow was it completely relied heavily upon the inflation rate of the token rather than the tax system and outside sources of funding in order to function properly. And so what you had was a massively inflationary token that was being paid out to people that people were dumping on with little to no fees. And so it obviously, after I think it was like 8 or 9 months, it just crashed and burned because the inflation rate was insane and there was nothing holding it back or keeping funds in the wallets because it was just the inflation rate that was paying out. So in order to pay out rewards, it would just literally mint new tokens and that would be the rewards you were receiving. So it's awesome to see that he was able to mathematically look at this and figure out a way where, if we tax at this point and we tax this other point and we have these other incentives built into place that will incentivize people to reinvest, we can perpetually keep this going as long as we continue to provide some form of utility or use case outside of just the faucet itself, which is what they've been building and working on with their NFT games and everything else that's been developed in the background. So there's a lot of good things going for it. And kind of like what you were saying, Jeff, and you were saying, Tyler, the fact that it's been going for a year, we're like, I think, what is it, 2 weeks away from it being exactly a year since its launch, and it's still going strong. And we're still 3 times the price it was at launch, So it's crazy to see that continuing and it continuing to pay that 1% every single day.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I found too, is like when I started doing my own research, I mean, with all the forks that are coming out, you realize, okay, well, this is from, it's a Forex fork, it's a this and that. And then you go and find out who he is. And the one thing that I found in any room, Telegram, whatever, when they're talking about passive income stuff, I mean, they all say he's the man. Like I haven't found anybody who said, oh yeah, his projects suck or anything like that. So again, for me, just trying to double down on the things that I get and the things that I do understand get me really stoked for the future.
100%. Joe, welcome to the space, man.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, brother. You know, I really there's been a lot of crazy things behind Drip as far as like what people say, but ultimately the proof's in the pudding. I mean, anyone who will question something and not go and look for themselves is only missing out, and it's unfortunate, because we are at Drip's all-time low. We know big things are coming right around the corner, and it's about to get a lot crazier than it's going to be getting calmer. So yeah, I'm excited. Looking forward to the future of Drip, and I really can't wait to see what happens as far as what goes down with Drip.
100%. Yeah. Thanks for coming up and speaking today. And Evan, thank you for coming up, man.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing?
Great. How are you?
Good. It's kind of funny. I got my boss into Drip, and he's on the older side. He's in his 40s, and I'm kind of sitting there like trying to teach an old dog new tricks, and I'm just like literally just sit here and compound once a week. I said don't even do it every day. I said just do it once a week for a year and a half and tell me you won't be excited. I honestly could care less if the price of Drip is $20 a year from now. So I mean, I sit here and I do the mathematics behind the scenes. I started out with 50 Drip on January 26th, and now I'm sitting a little over 110 right now. And come October, I should be around the 550 point. Even if the price got down to, well, if it got down to $10, I would still be technically green. And I bought pretty much all of my Drip in the 90s and then low 110 area. So it's just crazy the fact of I feel like Drip got bad rap at first. And it was just because of people not doing their simple research. And honestly, it's if you know how standard retirements do compounding interest, this is pretty much a no-brainer. And pretty much everyone I've talked to that are in the investment space about it, when I sit there and say they give 1% per day, they almost sit there and drop their pants, because it's just for them. They sit there and sell you compounding 401k at a 5 or 6 interest rate per year, and they think that's amazing. Obviously, the market it's a good thing, but when you sit there and say 1% daily, it's a little crazy to sit there and think about. So
100%. Yeah, it is crazy when you look at the numbers. And one of the things I get told a lot is the phrase that everyone refers to, right? Well, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And that is true in most situations, right? The things are too good to be true. If it probably is, that's a good standard to live by, in my opinion. The thing is once you actually do some investigative work into Drip, you would realize that it's not 1% forever, and it's not actually a true 1%, because after you calculate taxes, you're actually earning it. It's like 0.7 or something like that once you actually do the math on it, of what you're actually going to be having to take home. And there's the limiters in it, right? Like you can't take more than 3.65 times what your deposit amount is, and all those other factors that are involved there. That's what makes the project sustainable, and that's why you're able to earn such a high percentage yield back, is because of the system that's been put into place. So it's just crazy to see how people, like you mentioned, aren't even willing to do a little bit of research to understand. The first thing people want to do is condemn. And that's for any project, right? I've seen that with a lot of cryptocurrency projects, or outside of crypto, I've seen that with a lot of new concepts, right? There's a new business idea out there. Imagine the score Jeff Bezos got when he started Amazon, right? And people said, you're seriously going to do like an online store? And like, why would they sell in your store when they could just sell in their own store? That doesn't make any sense. Or the other things that people may have said to him that said that his idea was a bad idea, right? Or, I mean, name any other major player or anything in any space. You're going to do it like that? Well, that's dumb for this reason or that reason, without actually looking into how it could work. They want to condemn why they think it will not work. And I've seen that with every other crypto project that I've been a part of in DeFi. especially the new leaders in the space. When nodes first came out, Strong got a lot of flack for that. There was, when SafeMoon came out with the reflections, there was a lot of flack about how that reflection model worked and how that was a bad idea and this, that, and the other, right? So there's always going to be the naysayers, the people who are going to do minimal research and are going to come to the table first with complaints and reasons why it won't work, rather than curiosity and wanting to learn how it does work. And I think that's a key factor to learn when you're in any type of investment strategy, is being willing to be open-minded and learn, but also not allowing yourself to become A, closed-minded, but B, on top of that, not allowing yourself to kind of nestle yourself into just kind of one type of mindset, right? I mean, imagine the people who were big into stocks and trading when Bitcoin first came out and said, that's dumb, that's a stupid new thing, I don't want to be a part of that. How much opportunity they would have missed out on. That's the same thing for people that were in altcoins when they first became big and now said DeFi is dumb, I don't want a part of that. Well, DeFi opens the door to a lot of new opportunities that, like Drip and these other projects, allow you to utilize systems that were historically not available to the general public, right? The type of systems that are in place in DeFi are systems that the ultra rich and the ultra wealthy take advantage of in fiat, with the way that their CD accounts work and everything else, with their hedge funds and all the things that they make money off of through the banking systems. That is now becoming available through DeFi, and of course, a little bit more of a altered situation, and it works a little bit differently, but it's similar concepts. So I challenge anybody that's got questions on this to please do their own research on Drip. Please do your own research on Forex Shark and his projects. And that goes for any project. You should never go in blind into a project and how it works. You should know how the tokenomics work. You should know the tax system. You should know the utility and use case before you ever deposit any money into that system, because it's your money at the end of the day. So if the project rug pulls, the project fails, the project doesn't do what it's supposed to, at the end of the day, as much as people want to blame other influencers or the developers or whoever, at the end of the day, it was your money and you decided ultimately to move that money into that position. So it's your responsibility at the end of the day to do the research. And that's why I think it's important to host spaces like this where we can talk about those things, answer questions, and then arm people with information so that they can go out and make their own decisions.
Well, I think we also need to remember that coming up within probably 2 weeks, there's going to be a lot of those whales that originally started with Drip that are going to be coming maxed out, and that should bring a catalyst just in itself for the future of Drip. Just from the standpoint that there's been a lot of wallets that now have been created, and a lot of holders that have now been created in the above $50, above $100 price range, which will take them a lot longer to receive max out potential, that will ultimately benefit the project once the price gets higher, and the max out time takes a lot longer than just simply a year. Um, I've done the math myself. I will max out towards, if I were to compound mostly and not take out profit, which I don't recommend a lot of people to do, but I have the capital set aside with the risk play that I feel like it's worth trying to compound more than claim. That towards Thanksgiving time of next year will be when I hit my max payout of 27 and a half thousand Drip, to then get the max payout of 100,000 in my wallet. So I think that within the next couple months we should really see a tide turn when it comes to uh, sell point and sell pressure, because you can see on the chart that there's pretty much the same amount of selling happening per day. Um, and once you see that selling pressure start to diminish, that's when I think that we should all get the green light to start moving forward. Hopefully, once we get there.
I think you hit the nail on the head on that one. You're 100% right, because there's a lot of people that are going to hit that 3.65x of their deposits after that year marker, because there's plenty of people who decided to play the game of not compounding, as you mentioned, right? They just wanted to be able to claim that 1% rewards every day, and however frequently they wanted to cash out, they're cashing out. but that's going to dry up because they're going to hit that marker where they're going to max out their deposit and they're no longer going to have access unless they start hydrating again, which puts more tokens back into the faucet, more tokens back into the reward system, and then more tokens out of circulation. So I agree with you 100% that that's going to be a big marker. I'm interested to see how much of an impact it will have and how many people are at that position, or if it's people that are doing some sort of a hybrid system like you mentioned before, where maybe they're hydrating 2 of the days of the week and they're claiming the other days of the week. So maybe some of those might be extended out a little bit past the official launch date, which would be a year. So anyone that's down below, just for those that are coming in a little bit later here, you're all welcome to go ahead and request to come up and speak, even if you have a negative viewpoint on this project, or you have questions about how it works. Maybe you don't fully understand how the faucet works or the reservoir, or you have questions about the tax system or utility. Whatever those questions are, you're all welcome to come up. Like I mentioned before, we also welcome naysayers. So if you have a negative viewpoint on the project, or you view it as bad for some reason, you're welcome to come up. And as long as you're going to be respectful and keep it a civil conversation, we'd love to have you. In fact, I would love to hear all alternative viewpoints. That way it's not just an echo chamber. That's always a good thing to have in the space. We always appreciate and welcome anyone to come in and ask those kind of hard questions, regardless of who they are and what they've done in the past. So we appreciate you guys. For those that are in the space that are not comfortable coming up and speaking with their voice, we understand. It's sometimes a little scary to come up in public spaces like this and talk. So if you fit that bill, but you don't necessarily, you still want to ask questions, but you don't want to come up and speak, feel free to DM us, and we can of course read those DMs and answer those questions live. And for those that are on the YouTube channel, that are listening in there, feel free to drop comments. And if you have any questions in the comment section while the live stream is going, we can answer those questions for you that way. And for those that are coming in late to the Twitter space, as I was just mentioning, it is available via YouTube. So you can go ahead and watch the replay there. And I'll, of course, send out the link for that after, of course, we close the space out tonight for those to go back and rewatch the space, get any questions answered, anything else that they had going on. So we would invite anyone to come up with questions. So I'm sorry if I mispronounced this, but Renish32, welcome to the panel.
Thank you so much. I was just wondering, that's one of you guys was mentioning that Drip was listed on the Binance. How that's work? Can you explain a little bit more?
So it's on the Binance Smart Chain, but it's not listed on the Binance Exchange. So if you're referring to like the centralized Binance Exchange, it's not currently listed as a partner there, but it is currently available via Pancake Swap's DEX. That's going to be that's one of the ways you can gain access to the token. And then they have their own native DEX as well. So on drip.community's website, they have a built-in native DEX that's actually paired with the BNB token. And then the Pancake swap is actually paired with BUSD. And they call that their sword and shield protocol because it allows 2 different pairings for the price of the project rather than just one. So that's what they have set up as far as gaining access to the token. If you watch my Drip Masterclass video, I know it's really long, I've divided it into chapters, and the last section actually walks you through the process of purchasing the token and what you need to do that way. I haven't gotten around to do it, but I'm probably going to release soon a video that just straight up tells you how to buy the token. So it just walks people through the process of buying the token and then the different use cases that you have for it. Because a lot of people are under the assumption that you can only use the faucet, but that's just one of many functions. So you can deposit tokens into the reservoir, you can deposit tokens into the faucet, you can put them into the drip garden. There's a couple of different options, or you can just simply hold the token like you would any other project. So I'll be doing a video of how to buy, and then maybe even in that same video doing a little bit of what to do once you have it. So thanks for that question. Did that answer that question for you?
Yeah, thank you so much. And there was a different thing, like lots of people are saying it's like marketing scheme, it's pyramid scheme. Like if I can't refer any other people, then I don't get that 1%. So is that true?
No, it's not. Yeah, this is what we were talking about earlier when people don't do their proper research on it. So the 1% reward has nothing to do with any type of referrals towards other people. So if you decide to deposit your tokens into the faucet, which is how you get that 1%, and you burn those tokens in favor of the 1% returns, then you're going to get those regardless of if you refer anybody or if you refer no one. There's a large amount of people who got into this project early about a year ago when it started who have never referred a single person. They've only deposited the token and hydrated or received rewards, and they pulled thousands of dollars out of the project. So it does not require in any form or fashion a need to refer people, but referring people can earn you rewards that incentivizes people to refer other people, but it is in no way required to earn rewards.
Thank you so much for your time.
Of course, yeah. Thanks for the questions. We really appreciate it. And if you have any more, feel free to ask.
I just wanna-
Neshin. Oh, go ahead, Joe.
Chime in real quickly because I gotta head out. I gotta help my wife and my kids. But yeah, no, I just want to chime in and say, listen to anyone out there. I think that obviously I'm a little bit biased towards one crypto, but I'm also invested in Drip as well. And unfortunately, some people don't like it when you diversify. Not here, obviously. There's a pool of people who can, look at one crypto and say, cool, I want to look at this crypto and that crypto. And I just want to say that it's really great to see people who are within Safe Moon or maybe within Enhance, and they're still diversifying, they're still growing. Because the goal of getting involved in crypto was to grow, to have that financial freedom. And it doesn't matter what gets you there, as long as you get there. And me personally, I'm excited about Drip. Drip is I really do like the way it works. Generation as well as other YouTubers have been immensely helpful. That masterclass, if you guys don't know about Drip that well, go back and check out Generation's masterclass. It was absolutely amazing, and he covered it perfectly. And it's a long video, but it's long because it has answers to just about every single question. And Drip, Drip is in a really weird kind of crypto where we're at the all-time low right now from its previous all-time high, but we're still way higher from when Drip first started. And I think that looking at it from that angle, looking at it from the previous all-time highs and lows, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Drip go, start going up, soon. And that's my own opinion because the way I see it from the way the chart is and trending, and you go on YouTube and see other videos as well. There was one today I talked about, Drip and how it went down 80% and spiked back up and then went down 80%, spiked back up, and every time it went down, it was still higher than previously. And I do think that looking at Drip, that is a potential thing. But anyway, I really got to head out. Thank you so much, Generation, for hosting these. I'll probably be listening still every now and then. I just got to help my wife, my kids. But I appreciate you. And thank you to everybody, here today. Appreciate you all.
Thank you for stopping by, Joe. We appreciate you having you here in the space and for taking the time. So go spend time with your wife and kids, and that's what's most important. So we appreciate you coming and stopping by. Nesh, I believe, was up next. And then after we go to Nesh, I've got a question here from my DMs. So Nesh, welcome to the panel. Nesh, you there?
I think we're having mic problems, Nash.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and drop down, Nesh, and then try to request back up, sometimes that'll fix the issue. So if you want to just go down to listener, I'll bring you right back up to speaker. Then you should be able to speak. For now, we'll go to let's see here, Berto, and after Berto, I'll get to the DMs.
Hey, hello, Generation Crypto. Can you hear me?
I can, loud and clear, buddy. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you for bringing me up. Thank you. Yeah, I have a question regarding the liquidity pool, actually.
For sure, yeah. What was your question?
I've been following this liquidity pool on the BSC scan for quite a while now. And when I first started back in January, the main liquidity pool address was about 72%. And now it's down to 36% or almost 37%. There's a lot of sells going on, more and more sells than buys actually at the moment for the last couple of months or weeks. My question is that how worried should we become if that liquidity pool, the main address, if that goes below, let's say below 30%? Right now it's 37%. Is that very worrying or what?
That's a great question. So that liquidity pool you're referring to, I believe, is the rewards pool. It's the first wallet that shows up when you sort by wallet size. Is that the one you're referring to?
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So that's not the liquidity pool that's for the trading of the token on the swaps. Those are the other two that show up. One of them, I believe, is for pancaking. The other one is for the native DEX. That top one is the rewards pool contract. So that's what's actually paying people out for those that are depositing their tokens into the Faucet, and that particular contract actually started out with 0% of the tokens. It had no tokens when the project launched a year ago, and when it got up to 75%, that was strictly off just the rewards, the tax system that's built into the Drip ecosystem brought it up to that high of an amount. So that rewards is what's actually getting paid out to people when they're claiming their tokens out of the rewards pool. And then every time someone's hydrating, claiming, or transferring their tokens, that's adding to that rewards pool. So the real area where it would cause issues is if that fell below 0%. What would happen is if it went down below 0, new tokens would actually be minted in order to pay out rewards. So the 1% rewards will always be paid out regardless of what happens with the project. What matters is just what the value per token is going to be if it hit that point where it became inflationary. But even at current point now, it's been out for a year. It's never gone below 0 on that rewards pool. And on top of that, there's only 1 million tokens in supply. So it's got an extremely low supply. Right now, there's 100,000 wallet addresses that hold the project, which means on average, it could only have 10 tokens per wallet with all the amount of holders that exist compared to the amount of tokens that exist. So even if we hit a point where it went below 0, and for a short period of time, it went to an inflationary model, it would, of course, add that million could become, 1,500,000 or whatever that number could be. But that doesn't inherently mean that it's going to be the end of the project or it's the downfall, especially if Forex Shark and the others continue to build utility, which causes more money going into the rewards pool for paying out the rewards to other holders. What will end up happening is we call fractionalization of the token, as over time, because there's such a low number of tokens and there's so many more holders, people are going to be holding fractions of tokens rather than whole tokens, which then obviously causes an increase in value per token. So the only issue with that would be is if it fell below 0, because that could cause an inflationary model. But even in a situation where there's an inflationary model, that doesn't inherently mean it's like the end of the project or anything, because you look at projects like Dogecoin, I mean, even Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're all inflationary. There's more tokens every day than there was yesterday. So it doesn't inherently mean the end of the project that way either. But I would agree, if it hit 0, that would be more worrisome, but it's not necessarily negative, if that makes sense.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and I was getting worried because it was when I started about 72, and now it's 37, 36, 37. So it's going down every day, as long as people are still selling more than buying. If it's you can see an uptrend when people are buying it increases the percentage. So
yeah, exactly. And one other thing I just want to point on that, the reason why it dropped initially from 75, I think there was one day it dropped from 75 all the way down to, I think it was in the 60s in one day. And the reason it did that was because they when Drip opened up the animal farm, there was an incentive there for people to deposit their Drip tokens in an LP pairing in order to earn dog tokens and pig tokens for the animal farm. So a large portion of the tokens people were then using to dump into the liquidity pool, which added more liquidity for the pancake swap. So if you actually looked when it was 75%, I think it was like 8% was dedicated towards the pancake swap, and that increased to well over 10%. I think it's I don't know the exact number now. I can go look at BSC scan, but it was well into the teens, strictly off of the option there to deposit for liquidity, which is actually healthier for the project in the long run, having more money there for liquidity swaps for the actual buys and sells of the token rather than the rewards pool. So 75%, in my opinion, was a pretty high number for the rewards pool. It's actually a little bit better that we have a little bit more tokens being held in the actual LP for swaps than it is having that large of a portion held in the rewards pool, respectively, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Thanks very much for the thorough explanation. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, of course. And I appreciate your question. I really do. And if you have any more, feel free to ask. And if you feel like the answer I gave wasn't good enough, or if there needs clarification in certain aspects, please let me know.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks.
Evan, did you want to hit on that?
Yeah, I also wanted to comment where I feel like the same conversation comes in where there's a lot of big wallets that are at the end of their life cycle and they're claiming a lot more than obviously compounding at this point, which then puts a lot of pressure on that percentage as well. And once that is out of the way, I think that number will also start to gradually move itself back up.
Great point, Evan. I appreciate that. That's spot on. Like you mentioned before, with a lot of the people maxing out once they hit the 1 year mark, which is what is going to max out a lot of those folks that decided to just claim and not add to the system. They won't be there anymore to do that. And some of them may die off a little bit slower, right? Because some of them may have compounded the first month and then decided to start only claiming after that. So it should be kind of the beginning of the end of a lot of those bigger wallets. Once we hit that marker, I think it's April 28th. And then after that, you should see a progression of a lot of those larger wallets starting to fall off afterwards. Nishan, were you able to fix your mic?
Yes, sir, I was. I just wanted to say that this was a reminiscent of like WTR, I guess it was, like water utilities company. You know, I already had like a spread coming in through for Coke and Pepsi. I was assuming that Pepsi would outperform Coke, you know, when times were brilliant, resilient, and then, you know, when things are dull, that Coke outweighs Pepsi. And I was just doing that as a published author, financial writer, I should say. Um, but yeah, just getting in the thin and thick things there. I guess, you know, it's worth it to really win trust from your investors when that's all anybody talks about, you know. I guess you're waiting for the but, you know, that like you guys, what you guys are doing is totally rad, and it's going to take over, you know, whether it matters or not. You know, it's like it's totally rad that you guys are able to do this.
We appreciate it, Nishan. Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, my hats off. I'm done speaking.
Tyler, do you have something to add to that?
No, I appreciate the words, Nishan. Drip's definitely a different breed. I'm so used to being spooled with things like Safe Moon, or even, you know, back in the day with my OTC plays, getting updates, and Safe Moon's crazy with you know, little spoilers and hints and all kinds of stuff like that. But Drip's a different breed when it comes to forex. He's been in the game for a long time, and like he puts in work. So if he's quiet, he's working, and he's got big stuff coming. And when you've got Pancake Swap and you've got Chainlink approaching you, it speaks volumes. And he's quiet right now. But I mean, we know this week obviously we've got some things coming back to life, and I expect big things to come here in the very near future.
Evan, do you want to add to that?
I just wanted to comment on Tyler saying the OTC, because that's where I started trading, and that's where I learned the word of diamond hands very quickly, was trading in the OTC, because that is a totally different monster.
100%. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to get to some questions here. We've had quite a few pile up in my DMs. I didn't realize how many that were popping up. So I'm going to get to these really quick, and we'll have the panel kind of get their input on this. One of the questions from Joel asked, let's see here. Listening into the Twitter space currently, just wondering what your thoughts are on the price of Drip currently, and would you say that the current market is a bear market? Do either of you guys want to take that, or would you like me to?
I can take it.
Floor is yours. Go for it.
I think the price as of right now is kind of finding its floor for its next move up. As is in a bear market, I think we're in a very stagnant market right now. Do I think Bitcoin could obviously we all know that the majority of the market moves the tendencies based off Bitcoin. I don't think that Bitcoin will see below 35. I'd be kind of shocked if it did. Definitely with the amount of institutional buyers in the 30s. So, no, I don't think we're in a bear market quite yet. I guess it could be if it dips below 35, but I think 35 is a good floor, just like I think that 30 is a good floor with Drip. So, I think, and also the other point I wanted, there's a lot of people who sit there and say, well, what if, as in Drip, what if I sit there and I want to wait till it gets down in the 20s? Okay, well, what if it takes 40 days for it to get in the 20s and you bought now at 35? Well, you just missed out on 40 days that you could have been compounding your 1% more per day. And ultimately, your average price per drip would then be down in the 20s at that point. So you just have to think of it as the long term aspect of drip then kind of kicks its way in. So.
I appreciate that, Evan. That's a really, really good point. I agree with you. I think that, yes, we've had quite a large fall from all-time high when we're talking specifically about drip. And yes, there's been kind of a bear market in DeFi, I would say in general. There's been a large amounts of dips for a lot of different projects and a lot of fear and uncertainty when it comes to the future of different projects. But that's kind of the benefit of drip, right? Is the fact that even in a dip, you're still earning 1% every day. And if you're compounding, the price today doesn't really matter too much because what you're compounding isn't the dollar value. You're compounding the amount of tokens that you have. So theoretically speaking, if you plan on compounding for a year, the price could go all the way down to 5 cents. But if it comes back up to above or even out or even half of where you were at when you bought it initially, you're still going to come out net positive because you're compounding in drip token, not in the current price value compared to a specific project or dollar value. You're compounding the token itself. So like I mentioned kind of in the beginning of the space, you could be down 90% in the project from when you bought in and still come out profitable on the project once you hit max payout, which is kind of crazy when you think about that. So price obviously matters, and we obviously all want to see the price go up. And there's a lot of catalysts for the future to see positive price action in the project. But of course, no one can predict the future. The cool thing about it, though, is that the price going down is not as detrimental as it could be with other projects, is what we're saying. Of course, we all want to see positive price action, and I think that there is going to be positive price action in the future, especially once we get these partnerships rolled out, the new UI comes out, and of course, once we pass that date in April 28th, where we start to see some seller pressure starting to disappear. So, a great question. Let me hop on over to the next one so we don't get these piling up. From Smokey says, any update on the partnership with the Metaverse project Atlantis? I believe they're going to try to. Oops, there goes my Siri. Any update on the partnership with the Metaverse project Atlantis? I believe they are going to try to implement Drip as a native currency. Does any of you guys want to take that question about Atlantis?
The last thing I saw that it was live. I'm not sure if the Shills app was live itself. I know they're going to do that whole batch round where they sell before they invest into the garden and the faucet. That's pretty much supposed to be any day now, but I don't think anything's 100% confirmed.
I saw a post about it earlier today, but I didn't look too deeply into it. I was pretty busy getting things set up with the other stuff I had going on today, so I can't speak as to what's happening today specifically. But I'm kind of in the same ballpark as Tyler. I've heard that they're getting close, but nothing quite announced yet. Evan, do you have anything on that?
The white paper was released today.
Is that what it was? Okay, I saw
Yeah.
something earlier today, but I didn't quite see. But
didn't they have something too that came out about the percentages of what was going into garden and what was going back into drip?
Yeah, it's on the white paper. I think the best place for that would be to join their Telegram for sure to get a lot of answers.
Well, from the research that I've done, what is supposed to happen is the original funding for it is supposed to be paired with the Drip BUSD liquidity pool pair to help stabilize the garden as well as Drip.
Unfortunately, I don't have enough info on that, but I'm going to look for the tweet that I saw earlier from Atlantis, and I'll pin it to the top. Or if any of you guys that are speakers have access to their Twitter account, if you can just go ahead and pin it to the top so people can gain access to the white paper.
I have one question.
Yeah, go for it.
Now, who is Drip?
Who is Drip?
I don't know if I'm still on the mic.
Nishan, can you repeat that just really quick?
Yeah, that was my question.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, just wanted to make sure. So Drip is the name of a cryptocurrency project. It's the one that we're talking about.
Okay. It's not. I thought it was like a person or like this mascot is not.
No, yeah. So it's a token. It's a cryptocurrency token that's on the Binance Smart Chain, and it's a cryptocurrency project that you can basically deposit, and then you can earn 1% rewards from. There's a few other things you can do with the token as well to earn basically passive income from, and then of course you can just hold it just like any other cryptocurrency in hopes that the price rises.
Very cool.
So yeah, great question. And then Burek came up as a speaker. Welcome to the panel. Do you have any questions for us?
Nah, I'm just chilling, man.
Perfect. If you have any questions that come up for you, just let us know and we can answer them for you.
Oh, all right.
Okay, perfect. Let me get to a few more of these directly asked questions. I've got one here from Every Punk. He says, question on Drip. 1, with the exploits and hacks we've seen with other projects lately like Everrise, is the Drip Faucet contract lockdown tight as far as being able to be hacked or exploited? If someone wanted to go in heavy into the Faucet with tens of thousands of dollars, could they avoid a potential well tax down the road for creating several wallets and spreading their deposit out in smaller amounts? So that is a great question, actually. So yes and no. So obviously with compound, so let me break this down into chunks here. So the first question, as far as Everrise goes and the hacks exploits. So the Everrise hack specifically was a very, very specific hack to their project. What happened was they had a function in their contract for their different staking pools that had not been implemented yet, was supposed to just be test code that was left into the live code of the different contracts that they had. And what that test code allowed someone to do was move tokens from one pool to the other without having to pull them out of the staking pools and then put them back in, avoiding gas fees. And what happened was someone essentially saw that and realized that they could exploit that specific code by creating their own contract that was staged to be just like another staking pool. And then what they did is they abused that function through the contract to move all the tokens from all of the other staking pools and move them into their fake, a fraudulent pool. And then they just took all the funds out of that pool into their own wallets, and then obviously they spread that out around all over the place using a different program that allowed them to send it to thousands of wallets instantly. So it was really difficult to track to get it to where they wanted to get it to go. So that was a very unique hack to that particular project. And it's not going to be something that's going to be shared as far as an exploit when it comes to other projects in the DeFi space. There has been an audit done on the contract for the Faucet contract as well as the other contracts in association with Drip. If you go to my YouTube live stream that's live streaming this, or any of my YouTube channels, in the description of all of those videos, I have a link to their audit that they went through that goes through the code and make sure there's no vulnerabilities or issues that are coincide with that code itself. So as of right now, the product's been out for, like we just mentioned before, about a year, and it has not had any exploit issues or any vulnerabilities as far as the code goes. And the developer behind the product, Forex Shark, he's been in the crypto space as a developer for the better part of a decade. So he's been in the space for a while. He's been involved with several projects in the past, and none of them have had exploit issues or vulnerability risks when it comes to hacks or exploitation. So he's got a really good track record. He's been in the space for a long period of time, and that hasn't been an issue as to date. So that was a good question. And then the second part of the question, if someone wanted to get in heavy in the Faucet and they wanted to basically break that down to avoid a well tax, yes. Here's the thing, though. The well tax kicks in when you hold certain percentages of the total supply, which is only going to apply to a very minuscule amount of people, basically people hitting close to the top, right? So if they started to save a bunch of their drip tokens for a better price and they were pulling a ton out of the Faucet and they held a large portion of the total supply, that's when that well tax is going to kick in and hurt you pretty bad. So as long as you're not selling massive amounts off all at once, like saving up 6 months worth of deposits or something crazy like that, you're not going to really run into that issue. Yes, you could technically put your tokens into a bunch of smaller wallets if you wanted to, but it benefits you more to have them in one wallet because the way that the compound interest works and because of the way the tax system works, it incentivizes you to have them in one wallet. So I hope that answered your question. If you're wanting the math and all that, I do break that down in my masterclass video that should answer most of those questions that way. Tyler, Evan, any one on the panel want to kind of contribute to that? I know I kind of went on a long rant there answering that.
Question,
No,
what was the name of the project?
I think you did great on that.
Nishan, the name of the project is called Drip. It's DRIP, and it's on the Binance Smart Chain. If you go ahead and click on the link there at the top, it takes you to our group chat. You can ask all the questions you want in there, and people will help answer your questions. You can also go to my profile and click my YouTube link by going to the link there, and then you can just look at all my Drip videos that'll go down in great detail of what the project is and how it works.
So this was a hacker's project, quote unquote?
No, sorry. Someone was asking me a question from a direct message if it had any issues with being hacked, and I was just letting them know that it doesn't.
Oh, but I wanted to know the reference, like, to what that hacker's project was.
Oh, sorry. It was a project called Everrise. It was another Binance Smart Chain token that had a hack exploit where a bunch of tokens were stolen out of a staking pool.
Thanks for answering my question.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Hey, Generation, I'm going to step down. I got to roll, but thank you so much for having the space. Tyler, Evan, you guys are awesome. Everybody else in the room, I hope the rest of your night's amazing.
Thank you for coming up, Jeff. We appreciate you, man.
So I did see a few numbers for the Atlantis project. The Atlantis digital assets, for the revenue that it's going to be generating, 60% of it will be going to them. 20% will be going to the Drip Garden, and 10% will be going to the Drip Faucet, along with 5% into 2 other investments.
Perfect. Thanks for those numbers. Could you possibly tweet that out and then pin that to the top?
Yeah, I can do that. Hold on a second.
Awesome. Thank you. Tyler, did you want to add to that?
Didn't they, Evan, didn't they say it was pretty much the dollar amount was $1 million?
I haven't seen anything on that yet. I'm trying to just still do some. I for some reason I cannot find the white paper, but I did see it was posted today at some point.
Perfect. Thank you. And then I also pinned to the top there the link to my masterclass video. So for those that are wondering what video we keep referring to, it's the video that's posted and linked to the top there. It should go through pretty much everything you need to know as far as the basics of the project. Obviously, it can't cover everything, but it should give you a fundamental understanding of the project and what it does. And then I've got other videos on my channel that can go through specific subjects like the faucet, the reservoir, other stuff like that. So that should give you a good starting point, and then you can kind of branch out to learn more about the other aspects of the project. And then, of course, like I mentioned before, I will be doing feature videos as well to cover other points of the project as well, especially as partnerships and things come out that will require coverage on those things. So perfect. Well, we have got through quite a few questions there. Again, you guys are welcome to DM for any questions you guys have. Any new speakers are also welcome to come up. So, Branesh, did you have any other further questions for us?
Yeah, I was just wondering, that's the total circulation supply and like total supply and max supply. Right now, it's currently circulating 100,000, and total is 1 million, and max is 100 million. If creator want to bring that all supply at it once, like tomorrow, 100 million, is that possible?
I just want to make sure. Can you rephrase it just one more time? Sorry.
Like I see that's in the coin market cap, that's total supply is 100 million, and current circulating is 100,000, and max is 100 million. Suppose if creator, like whoever creator tomorrow wanna bring that all 100 million to the supply, is that he can do, or how that all gonna be come to the circulating supply?
That is a great question. Thank you for asking that. So when it comes to the supply of the project, the only function in the contract currently that allows for the creation or minting of new tokens is through the Faucet contract. And, well, actually, it's through the rewards pool contract if there's not enough rewards to pay out for Faucet holders. So that's the only way new tokens can be minted, is by the rewards pool minting new tokens in order to pay out rewards. And that's why there's that current supply and then there's a max supply listed there. So so the short answer is the creator can't just come in and drop, millions more tokens onto the market just to dilute the current market supply. So that's the only way that new tokens can be created is through the rewards contract itself.
Okay, I was just watching this project from the January, and when I see those market cap, everything, that's the things only making me scared to invest on this project, and just want to clarify before they invest it. So thank you so much for your answer.
Yeah, of course. And if you have any other questions, like I mentioned before, I've got that masterclass video that should go through pretty much most points that people have questions on. And my DMs are open as well. So if you have, you leave the space tonight, you look into more stuff, you're doing your own research, and you come across another question, feel free to send me a message or watch my videos, and those should help answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, I'm just going to leave the space and I'm going to watch that video. And if I have any questions, definitely I'm going to DM you. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Of course. Yeah. And then, Nishan, did you have anything else before I put you down as speaker? Excuse me, down to listener?
Yeah, I have one more thing I was gonna. It's pretty big. It was the algorithm. Did Evan or someone actually outcry the algorithm?
Evan, do you want to catch that answer?
Can you say it again?
I just wasn't sure if you had spoken the algorithm, or there's like a way I can download it in a white paper or communications piece.
Are you looking for as in the white paper for Drip?
Yes. Yeah.
I can find the link and I can post it to the top for you.
Okay, cool. Thanks, bro. Thanks, mucho.
Sorry, guys, I was in my DMs. I apologize for that. Yes, so Evan's going to post that to the top. You can also find it directly on their website. So for those that are wondering what the official website is, it's drip.community. And then that website there, the top, the very top of the page, whether it doesn't matter if you're on web-based or if you're on a phone, there should be an option that's there that says the swap, faucet, and reservoir. And then further along, it says white paper by BR34P and tutorial. If you click the white paper, it'll actually send you the actual PDF that goes through the light paper that will explain the kind of the basics of the project. So if you want access to that, it's there. And then for those that are listening in via YouTube, there's actually a link directly to the white paper in the description of the video that way as well. But I think Evan's going to pin that there to the top for those that want to read the white paper itself. So you guys can go ahead and read through and just give a brief understanding of kind of what the project offers. I will say, though, that white paper is indeed a light paper. It does not go over all the intricacies of the project. It just gives a very, very rudimentary understanding of what it's supposed to do and how it works. That light paper also hasn't been updated with the new features that have come out, like with the animal farm and all the features that are available there. The reservoir is briefly talked about there, but the other elements of the faucet aren't exactly gone through other than just the pure basics. So if you have questions on any of that, like I said, my DMs are always open for any questions. And then, of course, my video should help fill the gaps between what the white paper doesn't answer and then the other questions that people might have that way. So thank you for that question, Deshaun. And if it's okay with you, I'm going to go ahead and drop you down to listener. Is that okay? I don't know if you could hear me on that one, but I'm going to go ahead and drop you down. If you have anything else to bring up, you can go ahead and request to come back up as a speaker. Okay, perfect. Now it's down to just the three of us here. We've been going for about an hour or so. I know it's getting kind of late for a lot of people here. It's at about 10:30 Eastern. If anyone else has any questions or anything else they'd love to bring up, feel free to go ahead and request that in the space here. And I'd love to go ahead and answer any questions any of you guys have. Or if you guys want to just come up and have some comments, you're welcome to. And then, of course, my DMs are open for those who do not prefer to speak. Evan or Tyler, is there anything else that you guys wanted to bring up tonight?
Partnerships, maybe. If anybody has any, just want to speak on any of them.
Yeah, you're welcome to speak on those. Did you have anything in particular you wanted to talk about when it comes to partnerships?
One, maybe a misconception with a lot of people ask a lot of questions about the pancake swap lending. And I might just hit on that point of, I guess what Forex had said that Pancake Swap and Drip were going to co-create a token to where, based off your Drip deposit, you would be able to get a loan through Pancake Swap. Obviously, that would be, a certain percentage of what you have deposited. I didn't know. What are y'all's thoughts on something like that when it drops?
There's a lot of speculation when it comes to what that partnership's going to entail. I know that there's been rumors about a stablecoin. There's been a lot of other rumors I've heard with the swap itself and providing liquidity pools through Drip. I just think it's just like any other project, right? There's a lot of speculation as to what's going to actually happen and what it's going to actually do. I think we just need to kind of sit tight and just see what actually is going to come about from that. I'm sure we're going to get a lot more information here soon, as you mentioned. I believe Forex is due for a AMA here soon, isn't he?
He is. I guess he said that they were going to work on the front end tonight and push it testing tomorrow. And he should be given the exact date this week.
Perfect. So stay tuned. If you guys don't follow Tyler, Evan, or myself already, feel free to follow us for updates on that. I'm sure one of the three of us or all three of us will be tweeting about that as soon as we get more information of when that date will be live, and we'll get more information as to the extent of that partnership and, of course, the UI and everything else that's set to come out.
I do believe with all the setbacks that the animal farm had, I do believe that means that a once that is put to the side. So once he does this one,
Hey, Evan, I don't know if it's just me, but it sounds like you might be stuck in the blockchain.
Yeah, he's got a robot voice.
Evan, if you don't mind just dropping down and coming back up, we might be able to get you your mic fixed there. Sounds like you're speaking like a robot there. Anything else that you guys wanted to bring up before we close out the space? It sounds like we're starting to dwindle down on listeners here, and I'm not getting any more DMs or requests. Anything you guys wanted to bring up, and maybe we could close out this week and pick this back up next week. Anything you wanted to bring up, Tyler? Close out?
All good, brother. Appreciate the time.
Of course, yeah. So I figured there's no reason to drag these out. If I plan on it being between about an hour and a half, which is we're sitting about halfway between that. So in the future, guys, if you guys want to invite others to come in, maybe you got some friends that you wanted to use your buddy code, or I don't know, you've heard someone ask some questions about Drip and you wanted to help answer their questions, but maybe didn't feel comfortable doing it yourself. We are going to try to host this on a more regular basis, probably about once a week. Of course, hosted by myself. But moving forward, you guys don't have to necessarily have myself or one of the bigger players hosting space. If you want to just open up your own space, I'm sure people will join in, and we can start spaces that way, and people can just talk about the project. So it doesn't have to be me, or there's no police here as far as who's hosting when. So if you guys just want to post up in the Drip community when you want to host a space, I'm sure people will join in. For those that don't know, pinned to the top here before we close out, we have our Drip community. So it's just going to be a community, which is a new feature of Twitter, where you can go in and just talk to people there, answer questions, and keep the subject specific to Drip. Next up, we've got the masterclass video. So if you guys want to go ahead and watch that, it should go over the details of the project. And the next pin that's up there is, I believe, Evan's tweet here about the revenue distribution when it comes to Atlantis. So if anyone had any questions about Atlantis and how that works, that's pinned to the top. And then the white paper for the Drip project, which is a light paper, just goes over just a few aspects of the project, is also listed there at the top. Thank you guys all for tuning in today. I know that the time changed kind of last minute and it was kind of just thrown together, but hopefully we can get this to a more regular schedule, answer more questions, and we'll hopefully have some more news next week after all the announcements that should be coming out from Forex Shark and his AMA. So stay tuned for that. He's very active on Telegram. So if you guys don't have a Telegram, you might want to get that to keep up with the project that way. We'll try to keep you guys updated here once we learn more on Telegram. And if I have time, I might be able to live stream the AMA from Forex Shark himself this week if I am in a position to do so. So looking forward to that. Thank you guys all for participating. Thank you, Tyler, for co-hosting with me today. And we'll see you guys all next week. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Of course. See you guys later.